I just got back from a 500-mile road trip going to Orlando to get my freak on, not necessarily with the GTI, but the GTI took me there and it was a great time. However, I have a lot of butt time, like 8 or 9 hours so far this week with the GTI. So I'm gonna tell you all about this vehicle. It is an incredibly performing hot hatch here in 2025 with this new redesign, but is it one of the best out there? That's what we're gonna tackle today. We're gonna look for deals in my area after we're done reviewing this, and also where does it rank on the spreadsheet? Is it S tier? Is it one of the most fun cars to drive for the money? Well, today we'll find out. Man, it sounded like a nuclear reactor going off inside, popping the hood when I have the lights on here. But let's go and pop the hood. Ooh, this is not an aluminum hood. This is a heavy steel hood. I like 2 brackets here on the hood. That's going to allow for better body rigidity, just like the S3. Well, the S3 too, but I drove the A3 last week. That was $46,000. This is actually the base GTI, the S grade. There's also an SE and an Autobahn. All right, this is probably the best bang for your buck in terms of performance. There's no doubt about it. This has 241 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque from the EAA 88 engine. This is also mated to the 7-speed dual clutch that I had last week in the A3. But as much as I dogged on that powertrain last week, and it is super similar on paper, maybe not horsepower or torque numbers, but like this is so much better than that A3. I'll talk more about that once we start driving it. We also have a front wheel drive setup here. If you want all wheel drive, you can get that in the Golf R. I always want to say Type R because I saw Type R this morning. And it does have a limited slip differential up front to put down that power more effectively in the turns. Inside here, not a lot of insulation, maybe a little bit back here. And we do have a nice pad. Pretty good engine present. It would have been cool to have some red lettering here, some GTI on the engine cover. Looks a little bit cheap to me. That sounds fantastic. All right, despite this being the base grade, we still have an impressive front end here on the GTI. This new generation makes it look wider. It also does its best to give you an homage to previous generations. This is being, of course, the Mark 8, the 8th gen. I like the X pattern, 5 LED fog lights here at the bottom. Looks awesome. LED headlights, LED turn signals, LED light bar. You got the red strip here, the GTI badge here on the front. I get the cool illuminated Volkswagen logo. I am a huge fan of how the GTI looks from the front. From the side, well, you can see how short the rear overhang is. It's undoubtedly a hot hatch from the side with these big 18-inch wheels, the red brake calipers. The red is, of course, a GTI symbol. You have the red badging here on the side. You can get 19-inch wheels. For example, on the Autobahn, you get different 18-inch wheel style on the SE grade. These 5 spokes, not my favorite cup of tea, but you have other wheel options in the GTI lineup, okay? Got the cool little shark fin antenna up here, this nice spoiler in the back. It's a cool, simple, and even better looking car from the side than the $46,000 A3 that I reviewed last week. And unlike the A3, we actually have a real double exhaust. Dual exhaust looks incredible here on the GTI. Simple, it sounds pretty good when you push it as well. Just very, very clean rear end here on the GTI. And I lift this, it lifts up the hatch. The cool GTI badging here. Lots of cargo space. You got a spare tire here. No lights or anything, but I do have a 12-volt accessory. Sorry, I take that back. I do have a light right here. I'm sure you guys can see that. I do have a 12-volt accessory over here as well. You can fold down the seats 60/40, and there's also a ski pass-through through the middle seat. I mean, of course, it's a German car. You got to bring the skis down to Switzerland. Into the back seat here. It's the first time actually back here this week for me. Hard touch here. I even have ambient lighting that is standard on this SE grade, and it is 30-way customizable. Nice suede here though, even though the materials up top are cheap. You got suede here, double mat pocket on top. So we have technically 5 mat pockets. You can put a phone in there. I have vents back here on the top grade. I think maybe even in the mid grade you can get tri-zone climate control, but I think that's totally overkill in my opinion for this small of a car. I even have 2 illuminated USB-Cs down here. Again, folding this down, not only have the armrest, I have that ski pass through. I do not have a sunroof on this grade. If you want the sunroof, I believe that's on the middle grade. All right, I do have LED lights above as well as handles. This seat is set up for me at 6'1". I just have enough legroom. There is a drivetrain hump here. This vehicle, I didn't want to take my kids in it this week. I had a big pickup truck, so you know, one kid, like a rear facing seat maybe would work over here. But yeah, it's not set up to haul a lot of kids all the time, and I think most people understand that. Inside the GTI, I love the seats. These seats are super comfortable. On my long road trip, I never once felt like I needed more comfortable seats. Huge fan of these plaid cloth seats. You can get leather on the top grades, for example. Let's see here. The touchscreen's been fine. I'm kind of getting used to these screens. I've been in ID Buzz, the Tiguan, right? I like this, the software here a lot better than Audi software. Now, no volume knob. It all is slide bar or on the steering wheel. Luckily in the steering wheel, it's pretty, they've tuned it pretty well, so I don't have to press it a million times to get what I want. So I haven't had that big of an issue. In fact, I've just been listening to podcasts. This does have the bass sound system. It's not gonna have that nicer Harman Kardon sound system. I haven't really tested it hard this week, so let me pause and get back to you. Are you kidding me? Is it? Guys, I had to double check because this sound system's really good. Really good. Incredible bass, like mids and highs are solid. Like, what in the world? One of the best bass sound systems I've ever heard, maybe the best. So don't think you need to upgrade to get to that Harman Kardon. I need to put my climate control back down, and you can use the slidey here. It's pretty responsive. I feel like it's gotten better since when I first tested this a few years ago in an ID4. So I do have standard heated seats here. Haven't needed to use them. You can get ventilated on the Autobahn, for example, as well as a head-up display on the Autobahn. Haven't once felt like I've needed it this week. All right, it's probably like a 10-inch screen here, and this looks like a 12-inch. That's just a rough guess, but the screen is very clear. Shortcuts to get out of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I have my climate control, but you know, there is no button for like defrost, so that's a small ding. I have touch capacitive little lights above. You know, comfort, like I said, armrests have been great. I was super happy as a road trip car. However, it is very loud, not from a wind perspective, but from a road and tire contact. There's just so much noise coming into the cabin, and maybe the different wheel designs or the different tire choices you can get on here could help reduce some of that really loud and booming road noise. That's probably the biggest weakness of the car. Also, there has been a fair amount of creaks and rattles when you go over harder pavement. All right, so I have aluminum pedals here, glossy black. This has blinded me once this week. I don't know why they keep putting glossy black, but at least they listened when it came to buttons, sort of, right? Because this is still all touch, which is annoying. But like, look at these juicy buttons on the steering wheel, all physical. Heated steering wheel is even standard, which is amazing. I really think this base grade is where most people should get their GTI. I don't need the fancy like adaptive suspension on the Autobahn, because this base suspension's fantastic. All right, I do even have auto windshield wipers here. They've been so. All right, nothing to write home about, but that's a cool feature you typically see on luxury cars. Paddle shifters here are great. Cup holders here, they're actually a bit customizable. You can, for example, suck that cup holder back in. And a little 12-volt here, 2 USB-Cs up here. You also have a standard ventilated wireless charger. That's amazing. Volkswagen and Audi, I would say, probably have some of the best ventilated chargers out there. And a felt-lined tiny compartment here. It's pretty basic in here. It's a base car. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start driving the incredible Volkswagen GTI. Like I said, I had parking sensors. So as I back up to my tripod here, it should set it off in theory. It's pretty small though. Yep, see, there it goes. Well done. Backup camera looks like complete garbage, but I'm okay with it since I have all these parking sensors too. 38 miles per gallon. It says 37.4, but I've idled the heck out of this thing this weekend. Yes, 38 miles per gallon. Oftentimes I was doing 80 miles per hour. Like, incredible fuel economy. Like, I can't say enough about it. That Quattro all-wheel drive system on the A3 must have really soaked down that gas, because like this is a complete, like, you know, why do you need a hybrid at that point, right? I know it's not city fuel economy, it's best case scenario on the highway, this is tuned for the Autobahn, I get it, but like, holy smokes, 37, 38 miles per gallon, and I was speeding a lot. So well done with the fuel economy here. Also, the radar cruise control was pretty solid for me. I didn't have any issues. It is, even at the shortest pacing though, it's a little too, it's overly conservative, so it really distances you from the car in front of you with radar cruise control. But other than that, like, the steering assist was great, and I really have enjoyed the safety features in here. I have blind spot monitor, of course. I do have an even auto dimming rear view mirror, not the side mirrors, but the auto dimming rear view mirror for a base model is really, really nice for the money as well. The brakes in here, like, God tier. They're so good. Perfect weight to the pedal, so linear, and it has a great bite as well. No acoustic glass, and we might just have to pull off to the side. We'll eventually get a 0 to 60. I'm reviewing this really early, so people are still going to work right now. Hazard button, that's a real button. It's a real hazard button, but not a button really for anything else around here. That's funny. I've been driving 99% of the time in the standard driving mode. You have a sport mode. I guess we'll put it on sport mode here. It actually makes, the exhaust made a louder noise there, so it might be a little bit louder in that regard. I'm gonna take this off. We can torque brake here. Gosh, she's fast. I had a little bit of a traction issue. 5.7. Yeah, 5.7 with this 240-ish horsepower setup, 273 pound-feet of torque. God, that truck is loud, and that's the thing. Like, this car does let you know that it's not a luxury car with NVH. Like I said, there are rattles in this car. The ride quality is elite though. It's super luxurious ride quality, like as good as the Audi was last week. But the Audi was much quieter. It had no creaks or rattles or anything like that. But the materials in here are just as good, if not better, than the A3 was last week. And there's probably a 14 grand difference in MSRP between this base car and the Audi. So really, really happy with this car overall. Again, the brakes are incredible. The steering is sublime. Okay, let's go. Oh, yes. And the transmission in the sport mode is perfectly dialed in. It was in the perfect gear there. We'll go back to comfort though. I was in the perfect gear. I don't know what to do here. While powering out of that turn. And it just has all the power and torque I could want in a front wheel drive vehicle. Jeez Louise. Oh man. It's compared to the A3, like this is what the A3 should drive like and have like better technology, better features. And it does have that. It has a better technology, better features, but it drives like ass compared to this. All right, so you might be saying, Kirk, well, this is more of a direct competitor. Well, not even direct, but you should be saying, looking at an S3, but an S3 is more of a Golf R competitor. All right, so it's just unfortunate that Audi, the base A3 sucks so bad, costs so much, and this car, like a totally fully loaded Autobahn GTI costs $4 grand less than the A3 that I drove last week, and it would be, there's no comparison. Like, this car is S tier. I'll just get down to it. It's not perfect, like I said. It has some rattles here and there, and it is obnoxiously loud over certain stretches of highway. But from a driver's perspective, they've nailed it, okay? The downshifts of the paddle shifters are great. Let's get it into manual mode. Yes, it's all the power it's like, I feel like it's just like the perfect amount of power for the streets. Okay, maybe you would want more if you're on the Autobahn all the time or something like that, but like, you can really maximize this, never feel like you need that much more power. And it's just great. It's so balanced. That's what I really appreciate about this car. It is so balanced. It handles like a razor blade. It brakes with elite precision. And the transmission and the engine are just a match made in heaven. I'm super happy with this car. Now, with it being automatic only, it better be good. And it is. It's that good as an automatic. I'm really surprised. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna like the GTI. It doesn't have a manual. Like, that takes out a lot of the fun. No. They've managed to keep this car extremely fun. And yeah, I know that's gonna alienate a lot of people since it doesn't have a manual anymore. And to me, it's sad because, yeah, I probably would have taken a manual in this over the 7-speed, just because, not because it's faster, not because it's more convenient, just because it has a little bit more fun to it, okay? But this automatic is incredible. It's better than the Mazda Speed Turbo, or sorry, I wish it was Mazda Speed, Mazda 3 Turbo Hatch, 6-speed auto, way better than that. And it's just a really extremely well executed, fun hot hatch. And it's probably the best automatic car in its class. Okay, if we're talking about $30,000 to $35,000, like the Civic Si, you would get that just because you want a manual. If a manual is a deal breaker, then obviously this car is not for you. But if you're like, hey, I could go either way, man, this is fantastic. The car that comes closest to this would be the Elantra N. All right, and the Elantra N is a hair more fun, but it's not quite as polished. However, I don't remember it being quite as loud on the highway. It's still probably pretty darn loud. It's just a little bit more juvenile. This is a very polished hot hatch, and I think, like, as a daily, this is really, really hard to beat. Like, this is an elite daily driver, and you have the practicality of a crossover in this hatchback. Like, no, I don't have all-wheel drive, but it's front-wheel drive, you're fine. You don't need all-wheel drive. And like, the power gets to the road so well in this front-wheel drive that I have no desire to go all-wheel drive here. And the handle, everything's so good about it. Okay, there's one thing that kind of pisses me off. I don't have smart key access on this base grade, but I have auto folding mirrors. I would happily give up auto folding mirrors so I don't have to get my key fob out every freaking time I walk up to the car. That's the one thing that drives me crazy about this base grade. No, I don't. I have manual seats. Like, I love this base grade. I think it's amazing value, but not having smart key access is probably a deal breaker for me. So I'd probably be getting the SE grade. But let me know if that's as big of a deal breaker for you guys. Man, oh gosh, it's such a good automatic, this dual clutch. All right, come on, go green. There we go. Oh, it's back into drive, darn it, it took too long. Yes, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, maybe it's geared too tall and that's why you get such good fuel economy. But honestly, it has so much more power and torque than the A3 that I don't feel like the gears are too far apart. But with that being said, let's get in the office, let's cross shop the incredible GTI and put it on the spreadsheet. We already know where it's gonna be. If you want a GTI, I don't think even if you spent $40K on an Autobahn, you'd be disappointed. I mean, the wheels are so much better. But yeah, it's leather seats and, head-up display, ventilated seats, triple zone climate control, heated outboard seats in the back. Is that all important to me? And the answer is not really, because you're still going to drive 99% the same. The lowest price you can find these is about $33K, and that's about $1,000 MSRP. So you can wheel and deal a little bit on the new GTI.
Man, such a good car. Okay. What about like the highest price? Again, there's an SE and the Autobahn. You can get $2,000 off of the top trim sometimes, to 1,500 right here. All right. So also a really good buy for how much car you're getting. How would I compare it to a Mazda 3? I enjoy driving the GTI a lot more. It feels so much bigger of a vehicle than the Mazda 3. Legroom might be about the same. Maybe the Volkswagen gets a slight edge there, but like headroom, shoulder, like I don't feel trapped in the GTI where I do in the Mazda. And the seat is better in the GTI than the Mazda. The Mazda has a little bit more power and torque on paper, and you can get it in all-wheel drive. So if you need all-wheel drive, I get it. But the ride quality and the brakes and the handling is easily outdone on the Mazda by the Volkswagen. It's not even close. All right, what about the Elantra N? Well, the Elantra N, fantastic. It's an amazing car. Would I pick it over a GTI? Oh, why can't... Well, if Hyundai had this car in a hatchback, ooh, and I like the looks of the GTI better. All right, so it just depends. Like the manual on this is amazing. The exhaust claps are fun, which I know everyone does that to their GTI if you want the exhaust claps. So that's not going to be an issue down the road if you want to modify your GTI. Man, it would be a coin flip. It depends, like, hey, do I want a manual today or do I want just an automatic? And hey, don't get me wrong, the automatic on the Elantra N is also great. So do I want a sedan one day? Right? It's so tough. Would I pick a Civic Si over a base GTI? And the answer is no. I can't believe I'm saying that. I love the manual in here, but the rev hang is horrendous, and this car feels slow compared to a GTI. So this is about a low 7 seconds, 0 to 60, and I just did, 5.6 seconds. And the GTI, I mean, I love the hatchback looks on the GTI way better than the Honda too. So yeah, this would probably be like an A tier car. Where as we get to the GTI, it's S tier. It's one of the best cars, or one of the best driving cars you can get for the money. All right. And just keep in mind, once you're in S tier, they're all fantastic. I don't have like because they're all different and you're going to find different needs or a car to suit your needs better than others, right? So just because like I'm putting it above the Elantra in here doesn't mean it's a better car, right? It just depends on your needs. I should have put more things, and I've been starting to do more pros and cons here on this far list. All right. So the pros of the GTI, it's a hatch. It's a great looking hatch. Handling is elite. The engine transmission, the only thing I would say is sometimes it's a little, it upshifts a little too early from first to second, but all modern cars do that. If you put in sport mode, it's not that big of a deal. But because it has so much more power and torque than like the A3, it doesn't really show any weaknesses with the logic of the transmission. But there's probably a lot more to it than that. All right, let's keep going through the pros and cons. Ride quality is incredibly good. I was not expecting it to handle that well, but it's like that's the Audi kind of engineering we're talking about. Incredible ride quality, incredible steering and handling. That's what we have here. And the fuel economy. My God, are you kidding me? You can't, like 38 miles per gallon, that's as good, if not better, than a Civic Si on the highway. And you have way more power here. Way more usable power. And this 38 mpg on the highway would smoke the Mazda 3. And the Elantra N, I don't think can come close to this either in terms of power. Or sorry, not power, but fuel economy. Cons, no keyless entry on the base. That's a deal breaker for some people, so you have to spend to get to the SE model. There are some rattles at times, and there's really loud tire and road noise on the highway at times. It depends on the road surface, obviously. So yeah, doesn't stop the car from being a wonderfully executed hot hatch. Love the GTI. I didn't expect myself to like it this much. Not even close. Yeah, and the bass sound system. Oh my gosh, the bass sound system was stupid good. Elite bass sound. Like, what the heck? That shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. So yeah, SE trim is amazing as long as you can live without keyless entry. but you get your power folding mirrors. Like, what in the world? All right. Thank you guys. My voice is shot, as you can hear. Have a great day. And man, I want to keep this GTI. I think it's that fantastic. All right. Have a great day, guys. Peace.